Hey guys, Shield here. This time in SM-Armory, where you see I'm about to 2-pull the entire armory without any consumables, truly solo. The pull starts off quite simple, where you just start rounding up the mobs, and I believe you could go in either direction. I've chosen to go counterclockwise because that's what I'm most familiar with. In running through this area, there are no mechanics or tactics to be worried about, so it's simply a question for you to gather all of the mobs up in one area. As you head down to this corridor, there may typically be a chest on the right hand side for you. As you see here, there is a chest in this run. Now you can see my health has reached the halfway point. It will be time to use Blessing of Protection soon, heal myself up, and start the AoE pull. I like to do the pull around this corner right here. Depending on the RNG of the healing I get, I may be able to output quite a few consecrations before I need to bubble. Additionally, you may see the trinkets that I use, both the Talisman of Ephemeral Power and the ZG trinket for damage and spell power, as those two trinkets are very helpful for both consecration and the two lifesteal items I have, the Demon Forge breastplate and the Skullflame shield. These blue flashes of electricity you see emitting from my shield are from the engineering shield, the Force Reactive Disc. After more mobs have been reduced and the pack has thinned, the amount of incoming damage to me is not so great that I need to stay with the Skullflame shield to protect my life. At this point, Force Reactive Disc is more useful because I want to output more damage to make sure these protectors don't keep the pull going with their health, their healing abilities. You'll notice in the top right hand corner the buffs I have. I have no special buffs, other than the 2 druid buffs, although not special, for my alt who is parked right outside. Since I have a druid alt on another account, I felt it would be fine to use those buffs, as it is easily sustainable from run to run. You'll notice as we clean up this pull, in the bottom right hand corner where I have my elixirs and potions, not a single potion or elixir will be used over the course of this entire run. As we finish up the mobs here, we'll skip the loot and the food. The second pull mirrors the first pull in that it's a straightforward gather of the mobs with no mechanics to trip you up, no slows or stuns, etc. Those mechanics make SM-Armory an excellent dungeon to power level. Dungeons where you have to dispel or you get stunned are highly inefficient versus dungeons like this, where the mobs don't stop your progress of movement. As we approach the door here, you'll have to save your bubble for when you want to open the door. So no matter what your RNG is at this point in terms of how much healing you've got, you need to save some time to open the door. My recommendation to you is to not drop down immediately. Stand and fight up here for a bit and thin the pack. Herald is a very difficult boss for his level. He hits quite hard and has a large health pool, and while single target DPS classes such as warriors, rogues, etc. will do very well on him because of their strong DPS that is primarily based on their white hits, paladins do not do great with Herald, as when he does his Blades of Light, he's immune to all of our magic damage, and our melee damage isn't particularly strong as we're a hybrid class. Now that the pack has thinned out, before I drop down to face Herald, I want to kill those 2 evokers in the back, otherwise they'll never be brought down until they're out of mana. So I head over there, bring these 2 down, and then drop down to face Herald. When fighting Herald, there are many styles that might be slightly better, some better than others, but ultimately it's just a race for your white hits, as he's not a particularly challenging mob other than the time required. In addition to getting Herald here, you see the trainees will run down. There isn't much to them either, as they're non-elite mobs at this level who don't have a large health pool. Even a rank 1 consecrate will be enough. Another great benefit as we head out of the dungeon is that SM-Armory has a chest. 1 chest per run, where the keys, as I'm a blacksmith, are not difficult to make, meaning that's an additional source of profit when I eventually choose to sell these runs like I do my SM Cathedral runs. The 4 wild steel bloom you just saw, for example, total over 1 gold. As we head out of the dungeon here, we see the entirety of the run can be accomplished in around 12 minutes, allowing for 5 runs an hour, as this run was very sustainable without any consumables. What I want to discuss now, as you see the clips from some of my other runs, is how I plan on attempting to complete this dungeon moving forwards. These were some of the first runs I did for practice, where I utilized those 4 elixirs you see in the bottom right hand corner. The elixir of greater intellect, fortitude, the armor elixir, and troll's blood elixir for greater health regeneration. As you see here, when I use those elixirs, the fight is super simple, my health is very high the entire time, and the mobs go down even more quickly as the run is completed faster. The reason I wanted to try these pulls first was not only for insurance to make sure that, okay, is it actually possible? Because there is no waterfall style mechanic here like in Cathedral where if you're really in trouble you drop down and heal yourself. But also because I believe pulling this dungeon entirely in 1 pull as a Paladin is possible. And here's how I envision it could be done, and it'd be great to get your thoughts, especially if there are other Paladins out there, as you would have a great understanding of our class mechanics. Here's my thought. In this location here, where I complete the first pull, I'm thinking about using Blessing of Protection, healing myself, and then using a swiftness potion to run and ahead of all of these mobs in the pack. Since no mobs will slow or stun me, I'll be well ahead of all of the other mobs in the pack. In theory, that might allow me to gather up the entirety of all the mobs in the entire dungeon. Then, I would use my Divine Shield at the door once again, and stay with the Skullflame Shield when I drop down to Herald, and hope that the RNG between my lifesteal items would be enough, along with potentially using consumables, to carry me through the entire 1 pull as a Paladin. So in this position, in theory, I would have the entire dungeon on me. I would Divine Shield, open the door, drop down, and potentially use a Goblin Sapper Charge, Limited Invulnerability Potion, Oil of Immolation, etc., whatever combination I felt was required to complete the pull. Considering I was not able to find another example of a 2-pull solo as a Paladin on YouTube, it's really cool to produce this one and see if I can push for the 1 pull. With that, I want to say thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Light be with you all. Take care, and thanks again.